Okay, so we've all seen the recent resurgence that Cyberpunk 2077 has had. An avalanche of new players, a monstrous concurrent player base, and a story of CD Projekt Red walking the path of redemption. It is now going on 2 years since we were let loose in Night City, and while we were mesmerised by escape of neon lights and grimy back alleys, we all couldn't help but notice a plethora of glitches, game breaks, unpolished content, and unfinished intentions. Skip forward to now, the back end of 2022, and we have a product that is closer to what the team at CD Projekt Red had envisioned. Is it perfect? No. No game is. But is it better? Definitely. And if you are still on the fence about jumping in, then let this serve as a peek at what awaits you in Night City. This is the first hour of Cyberpunk 2077. From the outset, you are given the classic RPG beginning, a character creator, a backstory chooser, skill point allocation. Pretty standard stuff, but it's always fun to mess around with. Technically, the title of this video is a lie, because no one is going to breeze through these screens. Nah, you're going to spend at least 10 minutes here. And if you're like me, you could be stuck here for 30 minutes creating a character that you're barely going to see for the next 50 to however many hours you spend in Night City. There are 3 paths that introduce the game: Nomad, Street Kid, Corpo. I went Nomad, which means that we start our adventure way outside the Night City limits. Our car is balked, the sheriff is cranky, and we're in need of a Far Cry tower. Radio tower. Sorry, that's a weird slip of the tongue. Now, remember when I said that Cyberpunk still isn't perfect? We have example number 1 rearing its hilarious head in the first 3 minutes of the game. I reached a radio tower and... hang on. What's that blob of texturized something? It's a bright blue canister. Yeah, right. Hey. I walked 5 meters away from it and it's morphed back into whatever that is. I mean, maybe it's just the future and that thing is meant to do that. The future's crazy. I make my way up the radio tower and am met with a stunning, albeit faraway glimpse of Night City. It's hard not to get excited about what awaits us in that metropolis of life and death, perched upon a vast plain of dead earth. The story beats on as I admire my eventual destination, and finally I can make my way back down to solid ground. And we're off to find our contact, one Jackie Wellington Wells. I added the Wellington part to his name. His middle name's probably like Choom or Chrome or Muscles or something. Anyways, we reach him, give our introductions, and begin our journey into Night City. Like all good stories, we begin by smuggling a package over the border. And it's a hell of a package, belonging to one Arasaka Corp. We hit the gates, go in, talk to our friend Mr. Guard Guy, and take off, bound for the city limits and a new life. And then, can you believe it? This happens. Once everything had settled down and we had calmly talked our way out of the situation, we were shown a montage of our first days, weeks, months in Night City. This is actually my first gripe with the game. It's not a major thing, but with how short the introduction was, it would have been nice to experience and maybe play through our character's very first hours in Night City. I mean, ultimately, it doesn't really matter. It would have been nice. And now, we're given control again. Me and Jackie, sitting in a car, about to go deal with another situation in our calmly manner. There's a tutorial here for combat and the surrounding elements, and since I haven't played for a really long time, I decided to give it a run through. It's all simple. It's all the shooting, the hacking, the stealthing, the punching, the katanaing, you get the picture. While we're on the topic briefly, I have played this game before when it first released. I haven't finished it, I haven't seen everything, I haven't done everything. I don't actually particularly remember a whole lot about it. So this is basically my first time through the game as well. Tutorial done, in we go. And instantly I begin trying a simple round of diplomacy with the enemy.
Bitch is hacking!
Cleared them out, killed them dead, fried some cyber eyes. All in all, diplomacy has worked. We reach our objective, and Jackie decides to show me just how tactical he can be. Damn, that's a really sweet invisible gun. Where'd you get that? We get to lay our eyes on a trauma team for the first time, and no matter what you think about Cyberpunk, this sort of stuff is epic as fuck. I just don't lie to yourself. You know it, I know it. It's just sick. Alright, so we are done. I loot my little heart out, collecting the guns and clothing of all of those who stood in the way of civil diplomacy, and we're out. It's on the drive home where you really get immersed into Night City. The neon lights guiding your car through the streets, the gentle rain running down the windows, the violent dispatching of a group of rebels or robbers or... I don't know what they were, man, but they probably deserved what they got.
These ain't your average badges.
The atmosphere of this place is incredible. For all of its shortcomings, Night City is brilliantly envisioned, and witnessing it through V's eyes gives us a real appreciation for all of the hard work done here. I mean, sure, Cyberpunk had and has its problems, but when you see the scale and the scope of this concrete jungle, with all of its flashing lights and gritty undertones, it becomes easier to see why this game took so long to be developed, and how it amassed such a pile of technical issues. It's easy to dunk on Cyberpunk. I mean, for everything the game spits at and stands for, the real world ironies are not lost on many of us. But the developers, the boots on the ground people working at CD Projekt Red, they have absolutely nailed the city, and I think we should all applaud that. We reach our apartment and can finally settle in for the night, unwinding from the stress of diplomacy and reminiscing about the smell of overheating cybernetics searing the flesh of our enemies. Our apartment's actually pretty decked out. We have ourselves a weapons stash, we've got a wardrobe, and we have a vanity mirror. And all of this really allows us to customize our character further and really make V our own. Obviously, I looked in the mirror and thought to myself, man, this Veronica Mars haircut I was going for really isn't cutting it. And so I switched to this. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the first hour of Cyberpunk 2077.